Good evening. The temptation with these videos is to make them only when I'm feeling cheerful, because I'm not really sure how much everybody wants to see me sit and talk about feeling miserable or things being hard, because I am very aware of the fact that having weight loss surgery on the NHS is a privilege, because in the UK that's an option that's available to you if your BMI is over a certain number, and if you have weight related health problems. And for a lot of people, well, I think everybody in the US has, if they want weight loss surgery, I think they have to pay for it themselves. So I realise that the opportunity I've been given is huge. I realise that actually what I've been given is a second chance at life in the space of one lifetime. How many people can say that? So actually it's a huge privilege. I realise that I've been given a do-over, and I really am grateful for that, regardless of the complications, regardless of the fact that it's actually been a bit of a rough ride so far. I am very grateful to be living in a country where my GP was willing to refer me for weight loss surgery, because I had a lot of weight related health conditions and the NHS paid for me to have this surgery. So before I go on to talk about things being tough, I feel like I need to say that first, that, this is by no means me being ungrateful, because I really do think this is going to get better, and that, I'm having a bit of a rough ride because probably, a lot of that is to do with the complications, and probably some pre-existing health stuff that had happened before, which I'll talk about very briefly. I won't bore on about it. So, in the last 4 years, I have had a big, horrible situation at work that involved me losing my job and not getting paid for the last month I worked for them. I lost a good friendship over that. In the same 3 months, I had to move out of my house that I'd been in for 14 years, that was rented but was my home, very much my home, and rehome my 2 cats, my 2 babies, which was devastating and heartbreaking. And then I had a year of really bad money problems because I was on the same income but paying out a third more. I actually had to have a delivery from a food bank that year, so that was a new low financially. Things got better at the end of that year financially, and then going into 2017, after a couple of years at least of excruciating pain that I and doctors have been putting down to my back, transpired that I had a gallbladder chock full of gallstones, so I had to have my gallbladder removed in March 2017. Previous to that, I'd had a 6-month-long period, which I was referred to a gynaecologist for. Turned out that was stage 4 precancerous cells in my uterus, which I was treated for in summer of 2017. That treatment was unsuccessful. So in November of 2017, I was told I had stage 1 womb cancer and had an emergency hysterectomy in January 2018. And then in June of this year, had my gastric bypass. So the last 4 years have been shit. And this was supposed to be the big fresh start, which I genuinely believe it will be. However, I think I was possibly a little bit naive in thinking that I would suddenly wake up after the operation and everything would be fixed and everything would be great, because I don't think it's possible to go through that much crap in your life in the space of such a short period of time and not have some emotional consequences from it. And because it just kept coming, one thing after another, after another, after another, I didn't really have time to stop, take stock, ask for some help, get some counselling. I just kept bowling through one thing to another to another. And it was only when it all kind of stopped after the weight loss surgery, plus a massive drop in my estrogen levels. Big, rapid, drastic weight loss will do that to you, especially if you've had a hysterectomy and you don't have your ovaries anymore. Has actually left me feeling quite depressed and quite anxious, and I'm actually really struggling at the moment. And I think it's important to talk about that because a lot of people who perhaps aren't my closest friends and I don't talk to, you know, sort of on a very regular basis are like, you know, are you really happy? You know, is it all going really well? And you know, you've lost so much weight, you must be so happy, you know. And you know, you feel really ungrateful to be like, actually, I'm probably more miserable than I've ever been. And it's not straightforward enough to, it's not, it's too simplistic to we live in such a weight obsessed culture that everybody assumes that if you've lost weight then you must be happy. And it's like, obviously it's a good thing that I've lost 4.5 stone because I no longer have high blood pressure, I no longer have type 2 diabetes, I no longer have sleep apnea, and the only health condition I have left that I was hoping this would help is my chronic back pain condition, which was always going to be the last thing to go anyway. So I still think this was the right decision, but my oncologist did say to me after my hysterectomy that whilst he was very supportive of my decision to have weight loss surgery because there's a potential link between obesity and getting some cancers in the future, he did say that that whilst I wasn't able to have HRT because of that link, the fact that I was overweight would protect me from some of the worst symptoms of the menopause, like depression, anxiety, and all that kind of low mood stuff that comes with it, because fat cells contain estrogen. And I remember thinking at the time, so how's that going to pan out after the weight loss surgery? And then thinking, well, you know, it'll be 18 months after the hysterectomy, so hopefully, you know, it won't be too bad. How wrong I was. Yeah, about 2 weeks after I came out of hospital, I just hit a massive low. Felt suicidally depressed, like I don't want to be here anymore. Ditto anxiety, ridiculous levels of anxiety. Went for a blood test at my doctor's, turned out that my estrogen levels were in the toilet. So that did kind of make me feel a little bit better because I was like, okay, well, at least now we know what's going on. I haven't just gone inexplicably doolally, I've gone explicably doolally. Put myself back on the antidepressants that I'd come off while I was in hospital because my doctor wanted me to go on some new ones, and it was an SSNI, and I'd had very bad experiences with SSRIs in the past rather. So I thought, rather than risking a very bad experience with a new antidepressant, I'm just going to go back on the ones that I know suit me. And that turned out to be the right decision because a week later, I'm not saying that I was fixed. I still am struggling with low mood. I'm still struggling with more anxiety than usual, but I no longer feel suicidally depressed. So, yeah, that was the right decision. It's not the time, you know. I mean, I have the rest of my life to come off those antidepressants, and I need that extra help at the moment. I also referred myself for some counselling, which I started today. So I think that was a smart move as well, because actually these body blows of stuff that's happened over the last 4 years. I've got a very strong network of very supportive family and friends who have been amazing, and I don't know what I would have done without them. But it's got to the point where I'm like, do you know what? Bit of professional intervention and actually talking to somebody whose job it is to listen to this stuff and kind of like, you know, give me some strategies to cope is a wise move at this stage. So I guess I kind of hopped on I'll talk more about this in another video, because I don't like these to go on for too much longer than 10 minutes because I don't want you to get bored. But it was just to say that if you come out the other side of weight loss surgery and you don't feel as if it's the magic cure to all of your problems instantly, that's totally normal, because it's a massive life change and it depends what else is going on in your life at the same time. And it takes a period of adjustment, and it's not as simple as, oh, you can get into smaller clothes, you must feel fabulous. No, not unless that was your only reason for having it, which it so wasn't for me. So, yeah, whilst I don't intend to make these videos all doom and gloom, it would be disingenuous of me to pretend that this is all a happy, skippy, wonderful process. Some of it's hard. And that this is part of it. But yeah, that's kind of all I've got to say today. But because I said, I don't want these videos to drag on for too long, but I'll revisit the subject another day. Okay, bye bye for now.